and more Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck and struggling to afford everyday items. And rather than offer solutions, President Biden is blaming the media coverage of the economy. Watch.
About the economy, sir, what's your outlook on the economy next year? All good. Take a look. Go report it the right way.
Well, maybe the president should worry less about media coverage and more about his dire poll numbers. A new Gallup poll found his approval rating at just 39% in the month of December. And in a new Fox News poll, 44% of voters say the economy will only get worse in the new year. Just 22% said it will get better. 31% believe it will stay the same. You know, Griff, I feel like a lot of presidents like to do this when they get bad poll numbers. They're like, oh, it's unfair coverage on the media. But President Biden right now, it has the lowest approval rating from any modern day president at this time of their presidency looking to seek re-election. Why do you think he's so unpopular?
Well, because his economic policies are not benefiting Americans directly where their pocketbooks are used. And by the way, as a hard-pass, card-carrying member of the White House press corps, I do take offense to the fact that we're not doing it the right way, reporting it the right way. And it's poll after poll. And, you know, there's an old saying, Nicole, in politics, which is if your policies positively benefit Americans' pocketbooks, their hearts and minds will follow. If you negatively impact it, they'll kick you out of office. Oddly, Joe Biden, who's been in office since essentially I was born in the early 70s, you would have thought he would have learned that. And there's a number in there as well that 14%, only 14% said that they were benefited from Bidenomics. And so rather than convening a bunch of aides to figure out why they're not getting positive media coverage, which is what he's done in recent weeks, he needs to figure out how is it that we have national dynamic economic statistics that point to a good economy, but yet Americans aren't benefiting tangibly.
Well, that's exactly what I wanted to get to, Kim. So, yes, we have seen inflation has come down. First of all, this time last year, people were saying that there was going to be a big recession in 2023. Thankfully, that didn't happen. We did see inflation come down, maybe not nearly as much as it should have, and it maybe took a lot longer than it should have. You also have seen more job growth. Again, a lot of that is just the expected recovery from COVID. However, you are still seeing more job openings than unemployment. But so you're an expert on messaging here. When you have the Fox News poll for the condition of the economy, that only 21% of Americans say it's excellent and good, and only 22% believe it's going to get better next year. Is it bad messaging from the White House or bad policy?
I would like to applaud the president. I think he should teach a class on gaslighting 101. Let me just now, you said you were a card carrier.
I felt the audience go, what?
What, right? I know. Yeah, hold on. But you said you're a card-carrying member of the press corps.
The White House
I'm a card-carrying member of the PR world in Hollywood. This was 101. Whenever there's a Hollywood actor, his career or hers is going down the toilet. Let me just give you gaslighting. If someone is intentionally distorting reality to make you feel like what you're seeing or feeling isn't real, he did it perfectly.
But it's Bidenomics.
It's our fault. I mean, Nicole, come on. It's our fault. It's mainly yours, Griff. I blame you.
Let's blame the lucky guy.
Well, they feel if you keep saying Bidenomics over and over again that maybe people will start believing that it's working. But Kayla, you know, one thing that we're going to start seeing coming into as we finish out 2023 into 2024, there can potentially be some unexpected causes that could affect our economy. Even the World Bank is concerned that we may potentially have a repeat of the Arab oil embargo of 1973 with sky-high oil prices because of the conflict going on in Israel and Palestine right now.
Right, and this is Bidenomics in a nutshell. It's the economy is great. We've added millions of jobs. And by the way, you're all going to have to work 3 of them because none of you can afford anything. And this is the problem that Americans are feeling. The reason why Biden is so upset is because he knows that there is not enough spin to justify the reality on the ground. Americans are feeling the pinch, and they have been for the past couple of years, because this is the tricky part about inflation. Once those prices go up, they don't just come back down. And it's going to take a long time for Americans to get used to the fact that this is the new way of life, especially when their wages are not keeping up with the inflation rates. But I do find it so telling that Biden immediately went to blame the media for not doing his job for him, because I think it reveals how dependent he has become on other people to cover for him and his bad policies. And this is in large part why he won in 2020. He was able to hide behind the media, who barely grilled him on anything, who were running his narratives for him. And now the tables have started to turn because the media recognizes that this guy might not win again in 2024. They're beginning to apply a little bit of pressure, and he can't rely on them anymore.
Well, and Tammy, obviously people don't seem to be believing the president that he's going to be able to make it get better. That Fox News poll say the most important issue facing the country is the economy for 35% of people. Biden's message of we'll just tax the rich, if he doesn't come up with something new and just keep this stagnant mantra, how do you think that's going to play out in
Well, I think that the reason they become more concerned about something like really the economy, but everything, is because they know he's not being truthful. And if he has to mislead people, it means you're in trouble. So we heard the two things there in his remarks to the press about, you know, the media needs to do a better job and everything's great, is the fact that you heard what they're talking about in the White House privately, that the media is supposed to protect them, to your point, and the fact that, oh, everything's going to be great, whereas everybody knows, and the media knows this too, the inflation number we know is up, but it's the core inflation. It does not include food or energy. So it's the winter time. Energy prices are up. Food every day is up. Gas prices. So the inflation rate, and they say this knowing that it's not true when it comes, and if they would just be honest about it and say, we know these elements are a problem, people would trust him more and our optimism would increase.
All right, well, we have to leave it there, but we'll be talking about this a lot coming into the upcoming election.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.